Hello. Well, one of my video recorders is broken down. Let's find out what's wrong with this. It's a Panasonic Super VHS model AG4700, and what's happening is when you switch it on from cold it'll play fine, but after a few minutes it behaves as though one of the heads is clogged. I've had this sort of problem before, and it's been due to dry joints on the bottom of the head drum assembly, the lower head drum assembly. But I've already resoldered the joints on this one, so I know it's not that. Well, doesn't seem likely. So there's some other fault going on here. Let's have a look. Okay, let's switch it on and see what we get. Right, that's playing fine now. Let's give it a few minutes and see what happens. So that looks like a head clog. One of the heads isn't working, and you can kind of tell because if you hit freeze frame it uses different heads and the picture's okay. And when you do picture search, these bars of noise, that's typical of a head clog. But it's not a head clog, because if I switch the machine off and let it cool down, it'll go away. Let's see first if it's a bad joint and tap around the case. Doesn't appear to be. Some sort of thermal problem. Okay, let's take the machine apart and see what I can find out. Looking underneath, here's the lower head drum assembly, and the connector here is where I've had dry joints in the past. So I've already resoldered those and resoldered along here and then the other components at the same time, and I also lifted this and resoldered some connections inside there. So I'm not ruling out a bad connection here somewhere, but I think I've covered most of the likely ones. But perhaps if I set it to play now and tap around here, I might see the problem come and go. The other thing I could do is try and heat it up. Now the machine might not be that happy about working sideways, but let's see how it goes. Right, the fault has gone away. As you can see, if I tap around here, oh look! Aha! There's still a bad joint in here, in this lower drum. Definitely. Let's use a microscope and have a look at this board in some detail. I'll also take this screening cover off again so we can see all the connections under there too. Okay, the machine is powered down. We're looking at the microscope down on these two connectors. I'll just take this screening can off. I think there's just one bit of solder on that. Screening can off so we can see the whole of the PCB. And these are the contacts. These sets of 4 here are the contacts for the head tips. They go through to a rotary transformer. So they're the sort of thing we could expect a problem with, perhaps, but I've resoldered all those already. Let's see if I can get the poor machine to work upside down. It may not like this. Okay, it's working upside down, and we're in the fault-free condition at the moment. Let's tap around and see what happens. Do you think perhaps I should try a bit of heat? This is just set to 100 Celsius, so it shouldn't be hot enough to do any damage. I must make sure, of course, I don't touch the board with it. Aha! Did you see that? When I was in this area, it seemed to trigger it. Up here, might be capacitor failure. But it might just be that it warmed up anyway. I won't freeze it, I'll just try some cool air because I don't want to get too much ice on the board. Uh-huh. We're definitely homing in on it. Okay, fault's come back again. Let's try cooling. Try these capacitors. It's starting to feel like one of these capacitors. Let's warm it up again. I'm starting to suspect this capacitor here. Let's have a look at that capacitor, the first one in the set there. Zoom in. I don't know if you can see that, but looks like a bit of a dry joint at one end. Let's zoom in some more. That's looking a lot like a dry joint from here. Can you see that? That looks like a dry joint there. Let's resolder these capacitors. Okay, having resoldered those, let's try the machine again. Right, now let's try warming it up. Oh, it came back again. So we haven't solved it yet. Let's try some actual freezer spray on those capacitors. See if we can pin it down. Maybe it's somewhere else. It seemed to be a bit further up the board. I squirted it up here somewhere and the fault disappeared. Let's heat it up again. Okay. And the fault cleared itself. That's annoying. Is it thermal or is it just a bad connection somewhere? There's a small amount of the circuit board I just can't get to that's underneath this big metal bracket here. That would mean taking the whole head drum out. So let's hope we don't have a fault down there. I think it is a bad connection in that area, so I'm going to have to take the head drum out. Yeah, it's somewhere in there. Take the head drum out then. So, how to take the head drum out? I have forgotten, but I think we have to take this bracket off and then we'll undo the screws from underneath, I think. Take off this amplifier module from above, because that plugs into the head drum assembly. Okay, so we have the head drum out. Great care. So we were starting to suspect a problem in this area. Let's look at that under the microscope. Can you see that fantastic dry joint there? So that is probably the smoking gun we're looking for. But we'll look at the other connections as well. There's a few other slightly rough looking joints there which we will also resolder. But I think our smoking gun is that one. Okay, I think we're ready to refit the head drum. I've also put back the the screening can on there. Okay, let's try that again. Wish me luck. Okay, I'll just let that run and see if it's still playing in about an hour. Okay, that's been running for some time with no difficulties. I'm now going to try heating it up again. Let's cover that off. This was the area which caused the problem last time. Also, I'll tap it a few times. All looking very good. I think we can safely say that that is fixed. I'm going to reassemble the rest of the cabinet work and leave it on test for a while. Okay, that's still playing fine. I just wanted to show you when you're in picture search, that's what it should look like, only very thin lines, not the big thick bands of noise. Well, I hope you've enjoyed us working through this fault on this Panasonic Super VHS video recorder. I'll do plenty more content on audio and video technology in the near future. Bye for now.